What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Now, if you watched the previous video on our VW T4, we've recently purchased this from auction and our plans for it is to turn it into a camper van. At the end of our previous video, we started to strip out the back of the caravel, so we removed the rear and middle seats along with all of the door cards, but there's a lot of junk left in there still that we need to remove in order to make room for it to become a camper van. So without further ado, me and Lauren are going to get to work and remove all that's left in the back of the T4. Right, so me and Lauren have been stripping the back of the T4 for about an hour or so now. She's just chilling down the front, a bit hot and flustered. Who would have thought it's this hot in October? But anyway, I challenged her to remove all of the insulation from these panels, and that's all gone now. They look a lot better. The same with this side as well. All of the insulation has now gone. Now, as you can see down here, there's a little patch. And I got a clip of it earlier. The insulation had actually burnt. So where there's been some welding to the rear arches around this section and just down here, they haven't removed the insulation, so it actually caught light. But it's not to worry, the fire was very, very small. They've obviously put it out quickly. But all I will do is there should be a bead of body sealer along here, so I'm going to do that, and I'm also going to treat it with a bit of paint, the same as in here. They've missed out a bit that needs some paint. They've put loads of paint on here, but yeah, there's just a couple of areas that need a bit more protection. Now, one main thing that me and Lauren were debating was to remove the headlining or not, but we've gone ahead and removed it. It was fairly easy. It was sort of on some poppers, so you just had to get right behind them and pop the headlining down. But I think you'll all agree that this is looking a lot better now. It's fully stripped out. We're going to give it a quick hoover. There's some insulation that's still stuck onto some certain sections, but yeah, I'm really happy with how this is coming along now. Right, so now I've applied the paint to the areas I wanted to. It's just peace of mind. I didn't want to leave bare metal on there at all. And now we're going to be fitting some of this sound deadening. So I've actually had this left over from my Mark II Escort when I was sound deadening that. This is from Dodo Mat, and yeah, we're just going to apply it to a few of the surfaces just to try and reduce some of the outside noise. Right, so as I said a minute ago, these vans are pretty thin in some areas, so by adding sound deadening, you're reducing the external noise and the internal noise. They can rattle about and be quite noisy when they're just normal panel vans, so converting it to a camper van, it's important to add some sound deadening. So it's pretty straightforward. I've just got a Stanley blade. It'll cut through this like butter, as you can see. Very helpful square pattern on the back, so you can make nice straight cuts. And all you do is peel back this paper layer, and this is fully adhesive, so it just sticks straight to the panel. I only rough cut this, so hopefully it's a half decent match. Yeah, it looks good. Now you want to grab your roller and you just roll it on, working your way down, and there you go. It really is as simple as that. All I would say is just be careful. If you don't have a roller and you're pressing it down with your hands, these edge bits can be very sharp, so just be careful with them. Anyway, with that done, me and Lauren are going to carry on and do the rest of the camper van. There we go, so me and Lauren have finished sound deadening the inside of the van. It was fairly straightforward. Now I was just looking on Dodo Mat's website and it says that you only need to sound deaden 30 to 50% of the panels. We've went more for the 90 to 100%, so way overkill, but it's not going to matter, we just went overkill with it. So the second step and the second material we're going to be using is this Dodo Thermo Liner. So basically this liner goes straight on top of the sound deadening that we just put down, and it will try and to cover 100% of the metalwork, or as close to 100%. Now what this does is, this is a waterproofed closed cell foam insulation that will absorb heat and further airborne noise passing through, so it'll make the camper van feel more like a room instead of a really echoey tin box. And also, most importantly, this greatly reduces condensation build-up during the winter by reducing panel radiation, so there'll be less condensation getting built up if the van is nice and hot and the outside is very cold. But anyway, it's really clever stuff. If you do want to know more facts and information about it, then head over to Dodo Mat's website. I do need to give them a massive shout out for giving us a nice little deal for the camper van project, so thank you very much. And without further ado, me and Lauren are going to go and fit this Thermo Liner.
It's now been a couple of days since me and Lauren were cracking on insulating the back of the van. Now a couple of you mentioned in our first video that you'd like to see the underside, so what I'm going to do now is get it up on the ramps and we can have a good thorough inspection and see what it looks like under there. That was nice and easy to get the T4 up on the ramps. Went up nice and smoothly. Now our ramps don't have any safe working load stickers or anything. We've had them for years. So just as a belts and braces thing, I'm going to whack some axle stands underneath the van as well. Now I've got the T4 safely jacked up, let's have a little look around. So the first thing that I can sort of see that springs out is all the surface rust. It's quite crusty, probably had a couple of layers of underseal in its life before, but nothing too bad. Haven't found any holes around here. The exhaust is nice and secure. Now for the best part of it, this floor is really clean. It's been undersealed and protected over its life. Same with the back section on this offside rear corner. There's no holes or anything in the rear panel, and the floor also looks really nice and straight. Nice to see it hasn't been whacked up the arse at some point in its life. Yeah, quite happy with that actually. What I'm going to do now is move down the near side of the vehicle, and as we can see straight away, fresh underseal. Now this isn't a problem. I've just been tapping the area, making sure it's nice and solid. Yes, there's a few bits of loose metal flaking off, but for the best part it's nice and solid. All along here there's some added seam sealer, which suggests there's been some welding here, which could have been part of that £2,000 bill which I mentioned in the previous video, which the previous owners forked out for earlier this year. But no, that's nice. As we move on to the chassis rail, that's looking nice and solid. Once again, that's had a little blast of underseal and some of the paint is flaking off, but you know what, I'm really happy with that. And as we move on to the middle of the van, we can see that distinct pattern on the floor, nice and neat, and hasn't been welded too much. Although, talking about welding on the floor, I did spot this patch up here. As we can see, this patch does look slightly questionable, but someone's welded in a plate there and it's nice and solid. When it goes for MOT, you can't, the MOT, I can't whack a massive hammer on there. You have to use the prescribed tool. But yeah, that's not too bad. Now, as we move down the offside of the T4, you can see that it's the same sort of story. And I think this seal has been welded the same as the other one. It's looking nice and neat, to be fair, this side. Yeah, that's definitely been welded, some fresh underseal, but yeah, nothing that I can fault. Now, one thing I did just spot is this blower motor, and I believe because this is a Caravelle, it had one at the front, one in the middle, and one at the rear. Now, the rear one we took out the other day, but this middle one is still attached, and there is a hole in the floor for this. So what I might be tempted to do is remove this. I've just turned the T4 around, and yeah, I was pleasantly surprised looking under the rear section. I don't think it looks too bad at all, so let's hope there's no nasty surprises when we look under the front section. So starting from where we left off, I'm just by the near side sill, and this once again looks really good, and it's sort of, I think that hasn't been repaired up here, but it goes into a repair up here, because that looks like fresh underseal there, and then lots of fresh underseal here. But as I say, looks really nice, and it is solid as well. Now, one thing I did want to point out was these brake lines. Now, they don't look in bad condition, to be honest, but where someone's put underseal on it, it's just constantly flaking off in my hands. So might be able to go along them with a wire brush and clean them up. Now, along by the offside sill, you can see someone's had a go at re-welding this exhaust hanger on. It looks a bit like pigeon poo, but it's holding for now. Anyway, as we go along the sill once again, you can see it's been repaired. This plate shouldn't be there, so yeah, someone's just welded that in and not cut it to the right length. But yeah, once again, looks really good. I'm really happy to say that I think this has had quite a lot of the welding done before I got it. Just before I move on to the front section and the subframe, just look how big the fuel tanks are on these T4s. Honestly, it's absolutely massive. I'm not quite sure how many litres they actually hold, so if anyone wants to let me know in the comment section below, I'd appreciate that. Now, I'm not quite sure if these T4s suffer with the jacking points rotting out. I know quite a lot of vehicles normally do, but mine don't look too bad. This one is missing its undersill, and it's definitely been jacked up many times in its life, but it's still very solid. And it's the same story the other side with this one. It's caked in undersill, but it's nice and solid. It does have a couple of bends in it where people have jacked it up over the years, but yeah, I'm not too disheartened with that. Anyway, as we move on to the front section now, it's all looking nice and good. That is the gear stick coming out of the cab and going to the gearbox, and it doesn't look too bad here. One thing I have picked up on though is the new brake line. As you can see, the copper line there, and follows the chassis leg and then joins up there onto a new caliper, which I did spot when we purchased the van. It's the first thing that was shining through the alloy wheels, so that's another bonus. On this offside front, all of the suspension components look in fair condition. There's a few cracked bushes which I'll probably replace. It's nice to see that the bottom ball joint cover isn't cracked or deteriorated, but I think these links will probably have to be changed. As I say, it's the same story with the rest of the undersides. It's been caked in undersill, and over time that undersill just flakes off. And to be fair, I'm really happy with the near side front suspension as well. That doesn't look in bad condition. Also, whilst we're here, it's nice to be able to have a look up into the wheel arches to see that they look really nice and tidy, and the chassis legs haven't got no holes in them or anything. And there is that caliper which was replaced. I'm pretty sure we've got a bill for that, which came with a sale of the T4. But yeah, I can't lie, it's looking good. And this is the front of the near sides. No new caliper on this side, unfortunately, but I can always whack one on there if I wanted to. Now here we have underneath the engine, and we can't see much because it's got this massive cover on. But it's great to see that that is still there, because many under trays get ripped off or damaged. As we can see, the sump is damp on one side, so it might be the sump gasket leaking slightly, or it could be something else, but I will be looking into that further very soon.
Right, so that was a real good start to converting our T4 into the camper van of our dreams. We're really excited that we've got all of the insulation now down, and I've checked underneath to make sure there's no nasty surprises that we didn't see at the auction, but luckily it doesn't look too bad, and yeah, we can crack on. So we've got some really exciting news to share with you guys. So recently we've partnered up with a company that are going to supply us with some products which are going to transform our camper build, and we're really excited to get started. We'll obviously bring you along with us every step of the way, and yeah, we can't wait to get started. This video was pretty much just the start of the build. There's going to be some drastic changes in the weeks to come, and we're really excited to make them. Now, if you did enjoy this video, please give it a like, and if you like what you see, subscribe to the channel to see more. Thank you all for watching, and until the next one, we'll see you guys later.